What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Killzone and if we could actually get this thing back and maybe even as a live service game. Now, not that that would necessarily be the best case scenario, but it seems like a scenario that could potentially play out. So what I want to do, I want to look at this article from PlayStation Lifestyle. They actually caught something very interesting. It was in a job posting for Guerrilla Games, and it was advertising that they were working on, a live service game, but it specifically says in the lead producer role, lead producer and actually principal live producer, the job ad for lead producer specifically states that the incumbent will be responsible for ensuring the smooth and efficient delivery of our live service games, and games being plural. Now, that's where, the joke of, okay, well, Guerrilla's working on like 1,000 Horizon things. That's where this becomes very important, right? Because that's very official, right? When you have something like that in your job posting, you're not bringing on somebody per se for one live service game. It says right there, clear as can be, more than one, right? Games, plural. So, okay, now you start to think about Horizon. Again, you kind of have to go there. And the reason, actually, the first reason is because we know, at least through other leaks, I guess we don't know officially, but we kind of know that there's probably going to be a Horizon multiplayer type game, okay? Now, I'm for that. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Horizon has always kind of lent itself to be a cooperative, almost a Monster Hunter type thing. I think that would actually work extremely well. There were also rumors about like a Horizon MMO almost type thing, but the last time, and I think we have talked about that in videos, the last time we talked about it, I think the rumor was it wasn't them, Guerrilla, that was working on it. And you could even look at like the Lego game, right? Like Guerrilla might be helping the Lego game, but they aren't like full on making it. So when I hear that they're doing live service games plural, you can probably, pretty safely pencil them in. Maybe just don't do it in pen, do it in pencil for one Horizon multiplayer game. And that multiplayer game would be some sort of live service thing, okay? Now, you can debate if that's a good or a bad thing, whatever. That's almost kind of separate here. But more than one. Could they go back to Killzone? This is something that, obviously I've been a fan of Killzone for a long time. I've been a supporter of bringing Killzone back. I've also said the same thing for Resistance, for SOCOM. Look, and not to make it like entirely about console warrior stuff, but you do have to think about this, specifically if you're PlayStation. You've lost Call of Duty in terms of, Call of Duty was always kind of close to PlayStation, had the exclusive stuff or the early access with the betas and all that jazz. That's gone, right? Phil Spencer actually came out and delivered like a final blow to that, specifically saying that that's not going to happen anymore. Everything's going to be on a level playing field with COD. You have lost the idea that you can make COD synonymous with PlayStation if that's what they've been doing. And I think to a degree, I don't think fully, I think to a degree they have been doing that, okay? So you lose that. Now, what do you do in its place? Well, you can make other types of games, but I think one type of game that would definitely help, especially going forward in the next 5 to 10 years, is first-person shooter. If you can have COD, and not that you should have ever really, and this is the issue maybe with PlayStation's thinking, right? You probably should have never thought you had COD kind of long-term, right, or forever. So now that you don't have it, you need something that can almost supplement it, and I think you have. Now look, like Resistance was never a big seller. It's why when I think of like these, specifically the first-person, franchise that could come back, first-person shooters, Resistance is there, and it's actually my personal favorite, but it's, it never sold well even when it came out, and so, to want it back, I mean, I think you can, but the reality is I just don't think, I don't believe it would do well even today, and that is a tragedy. In fact, it's actually really, really sad. Killzone, though, Killzone always has done pretty darn well. And Killzone was always the more heavier of the, like if you play Resistance, you play Killzone. Killzone is that more militaristic, heavier type thing. It feels like that. So I actually think if you're literally looking for something, well, yet again, Call of Duty is a little bit more floaty, so maybe that lies a little bit more with Resistance, but I think Killzone does make the most sense. And I also think, Guerrilla has already proven to be able to kind of flip-flop, right? They were known as the Killzone. They were literally like a first-person shooter team, and then they literally reinvented themselves seemingly overnight, and they became an open-world, action-adventure thing. Could they go back, or I guess technically do both things at the same time? I think they could. So, again, it doesn't say anything specifically about Killzone. It does say, more than one. I think one of them is Horizon. But would you really do 2 Horizon live service games? I feel like 1 is already enough. 2, two of literally the same franchise live service is over. I mean, like, overkill. Let me finish that sentence. It's too much. Like, I just definitively think that. Now, if you do two separate things, a Killzone live service and a Horizon live service, I think that would work better. Is it the best case scenario? No. I always liked Killzone's stories, and would I want Killzone to be almost reduced down to a live service shooter? Not necessarily. Like, I'd find better joy or more joy in not doing that. But if this is how we get it back in some strange, like, sometimes you got to take what you get. You know what I mean? Or we can expect things, but sometimes for something like a Killzone or Resistance, or always bring up Sly Cooper and stuff. I want these back in a specific way, but if we are going to get them back and they're not the way that I envisioned, at least we get them back, so you can take some of it, right? But I really think it's possible. I do, because Killzone was always popular. It was never my personal favorite, but it was always a popular game. It always scored well. It always sold well. It always was received well. Maybe not like outstandingly, depending on which one you're talking about, but it is a very good franchise that, if Sony's looking to try to compete in that first-person shooter, which they really have none. They used to, just like they had, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. They were ahead of the curve. In a lot of ways, they were ahead of the curve with Killzone and Resistance and stuff. They just didn't stick with it. So Killzone, I think, is a prime one to be brought back, and hopefully, this is a little hint at that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.